Good Sunday morning and welcome into the Sports Source. We've got a great show for you today. Lots of SEC topics, lots of UT topics, just lots of topics. Also an announcement later in the show about this show that you'll want to stick around for. Let's just get right into it. What do you say? You want to get into it? Let's get into it. First segment brought to you by Nova Copy. Located right here in Knoxville, Nova Copy has all the backing and power of a national company behind them. They have 5 locations in Tennessee. They're expanding at an absolutely rapid pace to meet customer demands. The local company is just blowing it off the charts right now. Benny Malicote and his team can help your business. They are a valuable asset to businesses across East Tennessee. Let them show you how they can help your business with efficiency, with workflow, saving you money along the way. Nova Copy. All right. Here are the guys that are on the show each and every week, except for one who's only here as a special guest. Bob Hodge, who, of course, is a freelance contributor to the Knoxville News Sentinel. Bob, thanks for being here.
Good morning.
John Wilkerson, who is you're one of our irregular guests.
A friend of the show.
And I hope a doctor can help you with that. John Wilkerson, of course, one of the host and co-host of, you're both the host and co-host.
That's right.
Of Sports Talk on the Sports Animal. Thank you for being here.
Appreciate it.
Mike Strange right here, my favorite hack from the Knoxville News Sentinel. There he is. That's what he said before the show. Mike Strange, longtime columnist of the Knoxville News Sentinel. And right there, Chuck Cavaliers from Golf News of Tennessee and 1,000 other media outlets. All right. I want to start with a non-UT, non-SEC story. We teased that off the top, plenty of UT and SEC. But I want to start with a non-SEC story and tie it back if we have to. This week, former North Carolina star Rashad McCants, basketball star, told ESPN that, quote, tutors wrote his term papers. He rarely went to class for about half of his time in Chapel Hill. He remained able to play largely because he took bogus classes. Now, he is planning to release a book, so take that into consideration. Is this just he's saying outlandish things but in hopes that someone will buy a book by Rashad McCants?
Did a tutor write it for him? I bet somebody did.
Yeah, very good. He said that he might have been academically ineligible during North Carolina's national championship run in 04-05. He even said that Roy Williams knew about the system at North Carolina that allowed athletes to skip class but get a grade off of one paper turned in. Plenty of allegations like this against North Carolina over the last few years. A lot of this stuff coming out about UNC. My question, first, Roy Williams came out, denied it. Obviously, he knew he was going to. He denied it. But first, do you think, are you buying McCants' story, hook, line, and sinker the whole way? You think there's probably some truth there?
I'm buying it the hook, not the line and the sinker.
Okay, so you think there's some truth, but
there's some truth to it, and I'm sure there's some truth to it, but I'm not buying his entire story.
Yeah, he basically made it sound like one semester or whatever. He had 4 classes he never went to and made all A's, and all 4 made the dean's list. Yeah. There's probably something there, but you can go back and check and talk to people that were on the team, and this just sounds like something he's trying to do to stir up interest in a book that's coming out.
He's had a number of his ex-teammates, which is naturally, whenever one of these guys turns whistleblower, he gets teammates that shun him. And what's been unusual, there have also been a lot of guys that didn't play at Carolina that have come out and said, this guy's way out of line, this can't be true. Mike, your thoughts on, do you buy Rashad McCants' tale of what's going on?
Hook and maybe part of a sinker because or I'm part of a line, not
a sinker.
If that is your inclination to look for the easy way, and you're a star athlete, I think you can definitely find some corners to cut.
Okay. John, you buying it?
Yeah, I would say that it is based in truth, and there's probably a lot of that has gone on. It's just, as Mike said, you go back to Wimp Sanderson. How many of your players graduate? All of them that want to. If it's all about just staying eligible and making sure that you're able to play, I think there are more that would do the minimum as opposed to those that would look to excel.
Okay, and that's the second part of my question. How much of this goes on everywhere? There are some people out there who said, that happens everywhere with every player. It's all just completely out of control the way McCants says. There are others who say, maybe some of that. And there are still others who say, that's only at North Carolina. That would never happen at Tennessee or Kentucky or Georgia or wherever.
But I'm sorry, you've had cheating scandals in Ivy League schools recently. It wasn't that long ago, although we are getting farther and farther away from it, that you had the academic fraud at Tennessee. Yeah. I think that for those that say this is only a limited case are wrong. I'd say it goes on a lot more at other places. I just don't think it goes on to the degree that those that paint with the huge broad brush would say, oh, this is horrible, it's everywhere.
And never steal a huge broad brush.
I would think that some of it goes on everywhere, and I put blame on the university, obviously. You put blame on the sports program, obviously, but you got to put some blame on the kid too, because then you look at the other student athletes, a lot of them that we know that they went through, and they got degrees that I probably couldn't hope to attain, and I'm sure that they didn't sit there and have everything done for them by a tutor.
Right.
So I think it probably goes on a little bit everywhere. Blame the school, but blame these guys a little bit.
Yeah, because there's also programs where they play a road game and at night, and then the next morning they got an 8 o'clock class, and the coaches or somebody's making sure that there's somebody in that classroom. And those are the people I would be upset if I was one of them.
I believe it's a constant battle everywhere across the board, and it ebbs and flows, and you have to fight to keep it in check.
I think part of it comes down to your coaches and everything. I mean, let's face it, we've all heard stories that Cordell Patterson arrived at UT, never went to a class, left UT. That if he had been around for the bowl, if Tennessee had made a bowl game, it wouldn't have included Cordell Patterson. So I understand where you're going with blame the kids a little bit, but at the same time, if it's a culture where you have been pampered and told you're the best and given every extra perk along the way, it's hard to say, oh, well, now I need to buckle down and go to class.
Well, throw somebody else in there, too. Blame their parents. I mean, it goes all the way down the food chain. So I think there's more blame to go around and just oh, horrible college sports program. I think it starts when these are
And how many times is it the star athlete? The one, I mean, you take like the backup point guard, I bet he was in class. But you take like McCants, Rashad McCants, he's the one that can probably get away with some of that.
Well, and you wonder with McCants, what's in it for him to do this, aside from the book sales? Why come out and complain about this? Because if you are the one that's coming back and saying, well, they should have made me, I don't have an education because they didn't make me do all this stuff, that gets back to, that's a little bit of a cop-out on the part of the player. But it also gets a little back to what you were saying about parents. It was a few weeks ago, Jameis Winston, Heisman winner at Florida State, steals crab legs and leads to great internet photos all over the place. Steals crab legs. His father comes out and said, this is a Heisman winner. Florida State assured me they'd have someone with him watching him all the time. I'm like, wait, you got an 18 to 19-year-old kid, and Florida State's the one that's supposed to have someone protect him from himself?
I didn't watch my 10-year-olds all the time.
Didn't it remind you a little bit of the Arian Foster comments about all of some of the extra benefits and things? And you're like, where did this come from? It's like totally out of left field. Why would you go there to hurt the university that helped get you so much?
That you took advantage of.
Well, exactly. I think it goes back to the book. And we'll find out that he doesn't have an education when it's one long sentence.
See Rashad run.
Just Sly Brown Fox.
Chapter 3, class is bad.
All right, very good. Next segment, what is the estimated time of arrival for the UT football program? A national sports writer this week gave it kind of a target date. We'll see if that's soon enough for folks around Knoxville and East Tennessee. Come on back on the Sports Source.